What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Slav's Free Talk, the Watchtower, where we talk all things DC. I'm Slav, and this should be a fun one. I think we should have a good episode today. Paramount's on the brink of not getting Warner Brothers, maybe? We got a little update from Frank Grillo on Man of Tomorrow. We have new posters for Green Lantern, or at least a poster, and a bunch of other stuff, including Zack Snyder being Zack Snyder and doing Zack Snyder things. So let's dive into this, guys. What do you say? Let's turn down the music a little bit. I hope you're all having a wonderful Monday. How's it going? Yeah, it's been a while. Well, a week. I want to get this out of the way before we get into our stories. Tomorrow night, that is July 21st, I will be doing a watch-along party type of thing on my channel starting at 8:30 p.m., where I'm going to be watching Superman 2025 and discussing all things DC. You can come in, ask any questions you want, DC related, not DC, that doesn't really matter, but I will be watching Superman and just enjoying it through the whole thing. Now, obviously, due to copyright and restrictions and stuff, I can't play the movie on the screen while I'm watching it. However, I encourage you all to watch it along with me. Watch Superman with me. Let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about what we like, what we don't like, and different things like that. That's the idea. I think every Tuesday night, I'm going to try it out for a while. I'm going to pick a different DC movie. We're going to do a watch along. Maybe I'll give it a good month or two, try, see how it works out on Tuesday nights where we do watch-alongs and just talk DC. Mondays are going to be the normal Watchtower show. Wednesdays eventually may turn into something. I really want to get out there more often. More shows throughout the week. Obviously, Thursday is Bridging to Geekdoms, which you can find on the Bridging to Geekdoms channel. And I will occasionally, not every week, but I will occasionally throw this stream up on Slav's Free Talk. But I encourage you all to like, follow, subscribe, Bridging to Geekdoms as well. But look forward to it. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me on this channel. So it should be fun. Definitely should be fun. Let's see. Donovan's in here. He's got a whole bunch of comments we'll go through in a little bit. Raw Frequency says, yo, my guy, hope all is well. What's going on with Zack Snyder? Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Don't you worry. Derpy says, let's go. What's going on, Derpy? Donovan says, please don't watch Joker 2 or The Flash. Well, I haven't seen Joker 2 yet. Joker Dave Coulier. I actually haven't watched it yet. So that might be a good one to do at some point, just because we can get my true reaction to the movie. The Flash, I like The Flash, so eventually I will probably do The Flash. But I wanted to start with Superman, and we'll just go from there. Play it by ear. Maybe I'll start throwing up polls and seeing what people want to watch next and do in a watch-along. So it should be a little fun with that. But let's get into it, guys. Supergirl's here, says, hello, everyone. What's going on, Supergirl? All right. Can this just be over? Can this just be over? This Paramount thing? Can it be over? Raw Frequency says you should do some DCAU movies. I absolutely will. Absolutely will do that. It's DC. Look, we're going to talk all things DC. It'll be any DC movie that I will watch. And maybe even get down to like watching Smallville and Arrowverse stuff. Like it could be any of that stuff. There's only so many movies, but I would love to do as much. Like I want it to last all Tuesdays, just every Tuesday. I just think it'll be a lot of fun. Something for people to look forward to. That's what I say. Anyways, so this Paramount Warner Brothers merger is just not ending. And it doesn't look like there's going to be end anytime in the near future. So last week, 6 or 8 states or something like that. Maybe more. Maybe it was a dozen states. I think it may have been 12 states, something like that. They put in an order, put a request to the judge to halt the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers. The idea is that it's going to be detrimental to Hollywood. It's going to hurt Hollywood, all that kind of stuff. So a judge took a look at what the states were saying, the attorney generals were saying, and he came to a decision today ordering a temporary halt to the merger. Now, the state coalition, so the handful of states that put this together, have argued that the merger would violate federal antitrust law, leading to higher prices and fewer movies and TV shows. Is that possible? Sure, but it's still possible without the merger. That little bit of what they're talking about, when it comes to higher prices for your movies and TV shows, that can happen without the merger to begin with. So I don't think that's a good fight. However, there is part of this argument that they have that essentially is stating, look, this is going to create less jobs. It's going to create almost like not a monopoly, but just this huge, fewer outlets or something like that. This is dangerous for Paramount. If you're a fan of Paramount, if you're somebody who wants to see Paramount come out victorious here, this could pretty much put an end to Paramount getting the Warner Brothers deal through. Now, Warner Brothers, if the deal was not closed by September 30th, so we're about 2.5 months away from that, Paramount will start to owe millions of dollars to Warner Brothers investors. Every quarter, every 3 months, Paramount's going to have to pay money to Warner Brothers investors until this deal is closed. Now, in 2 weeks is when the judge will take a look at the arguments of both both Paramount and the state coalition. If he feels in 2 weeks that it can be pushed forward and going to trial, this trial may not happen for 12, 16, 18, 24 months. Like, it could be a long time until the trial actually happens. And thus he would say the deal cannot go through until the trial is through. There's also a possibility that Paramount comes out and says, hey, look, everything's copacetic. And the judge says, you know what, you're right. And he just says, we're not going to halt this anymore, and we can let it go through. Now, what is the likelihood of each scenario there? Well, the judge in his ruling today said that he believes the states have a case and that they will win. That was his opinion on it. So for me, it sounds like unless Paramount and their lawyers come out with something really good and convincing, this is going to be halted in a couple weeks. Now, there is a possibility that the states back off. Basically, Paramount would have to go to the state coalition and say, what will have you all ease up off of this and allow the merger to go through? It could be that they have to get rid of CNN from the deal, HBO Max, who knows? It could be any scenario where they can't attain all of these entities from Warner Brothers. It could be anything. We don't know what it could be. But that is a possibility. The question is, do the Ellisons want all of it? What is it that they really want from this? I think they want the IPs. I think first and foremost, the big part of it is they want the IPs. The problem is them keeping the IPs. And let's just say, for instance, the company or the states say, you know what? We don't want you to have HBO, HBO Max, CNN. We'll just say those for a minute. If they were to say that, and that was the case, well, that would then mean that Paramount would probably want to keep the IPs. But HBO and HBO Max is nothing without their IPs. So what is that going to like? No, then that's going to be just a dead fish there to begin with. I don't know. It's all really interesting, and I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't. I really was sure that this Paramount deal would go through. I thought that Paramount would even make a deal with this state coalition prior to it even getting to a judge. They haven't yet. They still might. I still think I'm around 70% sure that Paramount's going to come out with the majority of Warner Brothers. I do. Will it stick long term? That's to be seen. Everything else is approved. Like, they could, if it wasn't for this deal would be done probably by the first week of August, and it'd be closed, and we'd be talking about Paramount Warner Brothers being merged. But it seems now that this could go on for a longer time. Now, why am I bringing this up being a DC show? Because so many people look at this and they think, oh, when this deal closes, James Gunn is fired, the DCU is dead, all that kind of stuff. As there's a possibility that this deal never ends. It never closes, and it could go to Netflix still. Netflix could come back in after all is said and done and buy them up for the same price that they were going to pay before, and Warner Brothers truly makes out, because if they don't close the deal and they decide to back out, I think they have to pay Warner Brothers investors like $7 billion or something like that, plus all the money that they've put into it at this point. There's so much here that Paramount, I think... look, if Paramount does not end up with the larger amount of Warner Brothers at the end of this, they're in trouble. I think they'll be looking to sell off completely themselves here within the next couple of years, because they're just bleeding money with this, and they're not getting anything in return. So it's really interesting. But when it comes to the DC aspect of it, like I've been saying for a while, it doesn't matter what's going on with this merger. This merger isn't about DC. It's not about James Gunn. It's not about Peter Safran. It's not about the DCU. It's not about any of that. It is solely about these companies just Paramount wanting to merge or get Warner Brothers. And after that point in time, then they'll decide what to do with everything. So anybody who tries to say anything else, like Ellison is already talking about firing James Gunn or stupid things like that, don't listen to him. It's just all poppycock. It's nothing at this point. But this is going to be interesting. This is going to be something that I think we all need to, for those of us who care, I think we need to pay attention closely, because there's 3 outcomes from this. Paramount gets, actually maybe even 4. Paramount gets Warner Brothers in whole. That's number 1, which I don't think is going to happen at this point. Paramount backs off and just doesn't want it, doesn't buy it, and Warner Brothers then gets sold for parts, different aspects, little parts, pieces here and there get sold to different companies. That's number 2 that could happen. Number 3 is Paramount backs out completely, doesn't get anything, and Netflix comes in and swoops in and buys it like they wanted to originally. Or number 4, Paramount buys it in not its full form that it is now. So I think those are the 4 possible outcomes. Again, I'm still around 70% thinking that Paramount will end up with something, but that gets look after in the next 2 weeks. Once this judge looks at this, I'm telling you, if he pushes it through, I think that's it for him. I think Paramount backs out. I think that is where they back out, unless they're able to make a deal with the state coalition. But let me know your thoughts about all this. It's really interesting. This is crazy. This didn't happen with the Fox Disney merger. It's crazy that it's happening now, but people in hindsight see what happened with the Fox Disney merger, and they realize it wasn't as good as some people were making it out to be, which a lot of people knew it wasn't going to be good, but I think it was worse even. And because of that, I think they're trying to stop even this merger now because of it. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Love to hear what you have to say about all of this. All right. We got some comments in here. Let's see. Raw Frequency says hashtag stop the merger. Again, I know that there's no chance in hell that Warner Brothers stays whole moving forward by itself. Like, it's not going to be its own company anymore. Out of the 2 options that we had, Netflix and Paramount, I originally was all on board for Paramount, and then I started to be swayed by Netflix, and then I was swayed again by Paramount and was all on board for Paramount. But again, I understand. I am with everybody who says we don't want this merger to happen. We don't want Warner Brothers to be sold off, but it's happening. The one thing that the government cannot do, these attorney generals can't step in. What these government people can't do is stop Warner Brothers from just disbanding completely. That's one thing they cannot do. And that is something that's going to happen. They're going to, whether they sell itself off in parts or as a whole entity, however they're going to want to do it, that's how they're going to do it. And whatever way they can do it, they will do it. So again, I get it. I say stop the merger as well, but it's not going to happen that way. Donovan says, I just hate this armchair exec mindset on shit like this. I'm done. I'm just done with it because we do not know the full picture. No, we don't, but we still discuss it and have a discussion. Like, it's okay to have a discussion about these types of things. No, we don't know the whole picture. No, we don't know what's going to happen, but to have a discussion and think about what could and what couldn't happen, that's fine. Like, you can do that. Donovan says, my final thought, this deal is not happening and they will pay breakup fee to Warner Brothers. They could. Raw Frequency, everyone wants to expand. Some people just don't understand that. Powerful Presenting says, Zack Snyder liked a post on Instagram about Supergirl bombing. Maybe it's time to admit he's a crappy person. Did he really? I didn't see that. I would like to see that and see if that's true. Reloaded Fan says, could Universal still buy Warner Brothers? Well, Universal is in a very interesting predicament themselves because they're in the middle of they're going to be separating their different entities themselves over the next 6 months or so. So I don't think that's in the immediate future. Is it something that could happen down the line? Maybe. But right now, I think they're just more concerned with doing their separation of their media conglomerate themselves. So we'll see how that goes. Donovan says, I don't think anyone's going to buy Warner Brothers. At the end of the day, Zaslav has been known to revamp companies in the red and bring them to green. I think this is the way to get the breakup fee. Yes, and that's a good possibility, but their goal has always been to walk away from Warner Brothers. That was Discovery's goal. Discovery, they talked about it from the time that Discovery took over Warner Brothers back in 2022, that their plan was to eventually sell everything off again. Again, will it be in pieces or will it be as a whole? I think Netflix comes back into the fold. If Paramount does not get it at all, I think Netflix comes back into the fold. I do. I think Netflix and the States and Hollywood won't be as against it because you're not combining two of the top 5 companies. You're actually keeping one of the top 5 companies and making it bigger. Yes, Donovan says, remember Zaslav said if the deal doesn't go through, they get their fee and continue business as usual. They're continuing business as usual right now. That's what he was saying. He's saying, look, we're just continuing business as usual. If it doesn't go through, we collect the breakup fee and we just keep moving along. Like that's nothing that every company would say that. I think though that they're going along or going as business as usual is going to still be, hey, we're still looking to sell. Who's interested? That's what I think. Reloaded says, I kind of want NBC Universal to get DC Studios. Again, I don't think it's going to be NBC Universal when all is said and done because they're going through their own little, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now, but they're separating all of their entities and it's going to not be one big company anymore. Raw Frequency, is HBO Max still going to be around if Warner Brothers sells? Yeah, I would expect it. Like Paramount was planning on keeping HBO Max around. Netflix was planning on keeping HBO Max around. Now, if it gets sold for parts, the thing is HBO, that name, that moniker is huge. It is important in the world of entertainment. So anybody who's anybody would be dumb to not keep that going, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Frank Grillo. Let's see. Can I hear it?
Fun. Atlanta.
So Frank Grillo, as he does on his Instagrams all the time, he loves to go on and talk about what he's doing. And hopefully you guys can hear this, but he says,
oh, happy Saturday from sweaty, swampy, albeit fun, Atlanta. It's hot. I mean, it's like hot. Like I saw lions and giraffes outside, hot. And we're here today on a Saturday, and the whole cast is here. I got a little starstruck seeing all these people.
Now, he talks about the whole cast is here, that he got a little starstruck. Now, he's worked with David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, Wendell Pierce, and all these other people in the first Superman movie, and Nicholas Hoult, all these people who some of them are bigger stars than him, some of them are not. I don't think he's talking about them, but I think he realizes and
to do some photos and interviews and stuff for the film, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. I just saw Superman. God, that guy gets more handsome every time I see him. Lucky him.
You see how he goes from I was starstruck because we're doing, seeing everybody for taking photos and doing interviews, all that kind of behind the scenes stuff that they will then release later on. That they do that in the middle of filming, and this is a day that we're doing it all. But then he brings up, oh, I just saw Superman, and man, he's separate from being starstruck from everybody else that he saw. So he's definitely hinting that there's other actors and characters in this movie that we have yet to know about or see or hear.
David, and I saw Nick and Rachel, and I saw everybody, and it's really awesome, and it's great. It's going to be great.
Now I know everybody thinks he's also insinuating that, oh no, there's going to be Swamp Thing in here because he says hot and sweaty and swampy Georgia. Guys, I think we're at the point like that's a stretch here. I think it's stretch for sure. There's a better chance of us seeing Batman in that movie than Swamp Thing, but who knows? Maybe. But I would think it's. I think the takeaway from this video is that he was starstruck, and he's starstruck from all of these people that he's seeing, and to me, that makes me believe that there could be just characters and new actors in this movie that we have not been told about or heard about. Hell, he could be talking about what's her face that could be playing Wonder Woman or Maxima, whomever she's going to be playing. So, like, to me, I don't think he was talking about the cast that he's worked with, but I think he's talking about new cast. Still, though, it's great to get an update from Frank Grillo. He's awesome, and it's nice to see what he has to say from time to time. But what do you guys think? What is he talking about? Is it Swamp Thing? Is it some other characters? Could it be somebody who's playing Batman or Wonder Woman or some maybe Aaron Pierre because he hasn't worked with him? Like, who could it be? Do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Maybe it's Zillow. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Raw Frequencies. I hope Frank Grillo plays a major role in the Deathstroke and Bane film. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I still don't know if that movie's going to happen, at least anytime soon. So we'll see. Donovan says, I doubt Batman is not showing up anytime soon. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he's not showing up anytime soon. I think he will be in something. He'll be in one of the next 3 to 4 projects. One of the next 3 to 4 projects that comes out, I think we'll see the DCU Batman. Sid DeQuestly. I don't know. Names are tough. If Swamp Thing is in this movie, I will laugh so hard in the theater. I don't know why you would laugh at that. Why is that funny? Swamp Thing's a badass character. Man, he's one of the coolest characters in DC. Donovan says, I think it's Maxima. I don't think that movie's even a actual thing, talking about Deathstroke and Bane. All right, then. Well, there you have it. All right, moving on. We got a new poster for Lanterns. I like it. It's simple. It's to the point. But there's one aspect that I'm like, come on. Eventually, you're going to have to show us more. So, yeah, there is a hint of green, so people won't get mad that it's all brown. But we still have yet to see either of them in their suits fully. Sure, we got a little look of Kyle Chandler in his suit, the Hal Jordan Green Lantern suit, in the teaser that we saw. I just, man, we're like a month away and we still have yet to see the suits. I get it. Maybe they're waiting for it. I just really want to see the suits. I do. In their full glory and getup. Now, I love the poster. Let's talk about the poster. How the cloud in the background creates the lantern ring. I do love that. I think that's cool. Obviously, Hal has the ring, and it doesn't look like Jon Stewart has the ring on at all. So it's going to be interesting. I definitely am looking forward to it. It's a very simple poster. Lanterns, 2 characters. Are you afraid? And that's a big aspect of the Lantern lore. You know, you can't base anything off fear. However, I think that's also leaning into maybe what the story is going to be about when it comes to the big bad. But yeah, I personally think that hey, look, it's a good poster, just something simple. But I think we need to see more comic bookiness from it. I think the promoting and promotions thus far have been great for people who wouldn't be turned on to a comic book project, but I think us comic book nerds need to see a little bit more. There is this version also. I don't know if this is legit or not. I hadn't had much time since work to look at it. It just looks like they kind of moved them closer, and Hal's holding his ring up a little bit. And again, simple, but it's basically just them, the same poses with the exception of his arm being up. So I don't think this is legit. I think this may have been somebody else doing it. But yeah, I think it's, again, I think they need to lean a little more into the comic bookiness of it to help get the comic book fans more on board. Again, I think you're getting the HBO fans interested, but I would like to see them lean a little more into the comic bookness of it all, going in closer to it. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this poster. And look, I think we're supposed to get a trailer this week, most likely during their Comic-Con panel. So probably by the end of this week, we'll have a new look at the show, and maybe they lean more into the comic bookiness of it all. We'll see. Donovan's going on a rampage here. He says, I can't wait for the trailer this week. I think they teased the theme. Wait for the trailer. They're saying saving the suits for the show. There's a reason they're doing it. Trust. Don't give into the dark side. I'm not giving into any dark side. Donovan, you need to realize and understand that it's okay. Like, I'm still excited for this show. I can't wait to see this show, but it's okay to say, you know what? I'm not digging the marketing. I think they could be doing something a little bit better, a little bit different. I would handle it differently. It's okay to say that. It's okay. Like, I'm not spreading hate or misinformation. I'm giving my commentary on it because I'm a pop culture commentator. There we go. Commentator. So that's what I'm to do. Like, that's what my channel is, pop culture commentary. So it's okay, man. It's okay. He says, I've seen people on Twitter saying what happens to Hal is being taken out of context and that Parallax will be involved. Perhaps Hal was already Parallax and that's why he's acting up. Again, you're right. We are fans overall, Donovan. He's saying we're just fans, but hold on. Knocking stuff over. Anyways, yes, we are just fans. That's true. But it's okay to have discussions and be concerned and curious about why they're doing certain things. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. It's okay. Like, that's part of being a fan, is discussing and talking about things. And it's different if I were sitting here saying James Gunn's a hack and he's lost it and this is terrible, he should be fired for this and things like that. Like, that's completely different than me saying, look, I think they should do this. I think it'd be cool to lean more into the comic book of it all. I think it would be better if they showed us the suits. I think it would get people more excited. Because again, I go back to the whole thing that we want a large audience to be excited for the DCU. For the DCU to succeed, you need to get audience watching it and getting excited about it. And I just don't think this poster is something that is going to excite a large amount of fans. Just like the things that happen with Supergirl. It comes down to, look, you need to focus on getting a large group of fans. The one thing that Warner Brothers has always sucked at is marketing. for years and years and years, especially when it comes to DC. Their marketing for DC has been atrocious for as long as I can remember. I was hoping it would get better with DC Studios, but it doesn't appear to be getting better. And it's just the way I look at it. But it's okay to have that opinion because I'm not saying it's going to be trash and I'm not looking forward to it. I just think it should go a different way. Raw Frequency says, I'm actually excited for Lanterns. Sid says, yes, Snyder did definitely like the post about Supergirl bombing. I wish I screenshot that shit. Unbelievable. Reloaded fan, I have to ask what Zack Snyder's endgame with still talking and posting about his DC. He doesn't have an endgame. His only goal in doing that is to keep conversation alive about him. That's all it is. It's all about getting people to actually follow. Look, if Zack Snyder were to just stop posting and talking about DC outright completely, after about 12 to 16 months, his following would drop probably by 50% because all of the Snyderverse fans would just start ignoring him and not caring. Let's not forget that most of them don't even care about his other movies. They don't care about what's coming up, just the DC stuff. However, because they continuously talk about him, and then whenever he posts a movie, they talk a big game like, oh, he's got a new movie. He's got Rebel Moon. He's got The Last Photographer, blah, 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 all this. And they talk a big game and help promote the movie. But then they end up watching it or not watching it. And if they do watch it, they don't like it. But most of the time, they don't even watch it themselves. So that's kind of why he does it, because it just helps his brand. It helps him get out there. And I think it's pathetic. I do. Raw Frequency, I just can't wait to see Jon Stewart on the big screen with other heroes. That's going to be awesome next year. For sure. For sure. All right. Moving on up to the next story. Jimmy Tatro officially boards DC's Jimmy Olsen Superman spinoff series as Gorilla Grodd. This coming from Deadline. So Deadline has reporting exclusively, because I decided to have pop-ups, that Tatro will officially bring to life DC's Gorilla Grodd in the upcoming Superman spin-off series from HBO Max centering on Jimmy Olsen, sources tell Deadline. While the casting will add to the buzz around the project, HBO has yet to officially greenlight the series. As Deadline reported last week, Tatro was in talks to join DC Universe as the hyper-intelligent telepathic ape who has sought to rule both the simian and human worlds, though the Flash has frequently thwarted his plans. The spinoff is billed as being akin to a true crime docuseries with Jimmy Olsen from Superman hosting. Season 1 reportedly will be centered around DC bad guy Gorilla Grodd, who often wrestles the Flash. I think this is good casting. I think he's got a great voice for it. He'll probably do the motion capture for it as well. And yeah, I could see he's probably going to be a big part of DC moving forward. It's something that I hope they do they bring the Flash into it at some point and him and Flash face off down the line. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But it's cool to see this world and universe expanding and growing like this with different actors of good caliber actors. And they're not award-winning actors yet. A lot of them are young and growing, but they're still very good in their own right. It's exciting. It's nice. It's fun. It's cool to see the world and universe building up and not just focusing on certain characters. So I like that, but I still think that they need to get out there and start giving us our Wonder Woman, Batman, and Aquaman and things like we still need to see those, but I do like that they're doing this kind of stuff as well. I just think it's important to get the big A-list characters, I should say, A-list characters out sooner rather than later. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a cool or good move? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see. Donovan says the motion cap and VFX for the ape and Peacemaker was insane. And if that is any indication of Grodd, I can't wait. Sid says Instagram is not Twitter. Him liking a post where it not only says Supergirl bomb, but it bombed because of how the movie was bad as well. Donovan, of course, says I would rather wait for Batman and Wonder scripts to be great rather than rushed, and being great and or perfect takes time. The thing is, Donovan, if you cannot in 4 years get a good script for Batman, maybe you're not the person that should be in charge leading the way. If you can't in 4 years get a good script for Wonder Woman, again, it's not like they have to make the next Schindler's List or the next Gone with the Wind or Citizens Kane or anything like that. No, they need to make a good Batman movie. They need to make a good Wonder Woman movie. And yes, you want the scripts to be good. You want them to be really good. But it shouldn't take 5-6 years to get that script. That's just pathetic. That's unreasonable. And that is something that you then start to question leadership and say, why aren't you getting a good script? Where is the disconnection coming from? Why isn't there a good script? Is it because James Gunn is too busy filming and writing and doing other stuff instead of running DC Studios? That's a possibility. And that's something that should be talked about and considered and decided, hey, Jimmy, you may not want to be doing that other stuff. On the other hand, maybe they just haven't been focusing on getting a Batman movie. And then you have to sit back and say, why? That is bad leadership as well. That's bad leadership from both Safran and James Gunn. So where is the disconnect? Where is the issue with that? Yes, I agree. You want to have good scripts, but it should not take you 6 years to get a good script. It shouldn't. They could hire 10 writers, 15 writers right now to all write different story treatments and scripts, and I guarantee they can get a good story out of one of them easily, if not more than one of them. So that's a possibility to do, but why aren't they doing it? Where is the issue there? What has stopped them from moving forward with making a DCU Batman movie, with making a new Wonder Woman movie, with doing Aquaman, with doing a Flash? What is the issue holding it up? That's the question. Diva Smash. Guys, I'm terrible with names. Can you guys make better names for YouTube? Slav, you need to understand, if Man of Tomorrow bombs, it's over for the DCU, period. That doesn't mean Zack is going to return, but they'll just make standalone films. I've been saying that for years at this point, that if the DCU fails, it's not going to return the Snyderverse. They're just going to do Batman movies every few years, and that's all we're going to get is Batman movies, and maybe some filmmaker will come in like, I have an idea for this character. I'm like, okay, do it for this much money. Like, we're not going to have a connected universe, and I've been saying that for a while now. So it's not that I need to understand that, it's that other people need to understand that. The Snyderverse people need to understand that. You know, the audience who wants to see a successful DC universe need to understand that. If the DCU fails, that's it, guys. I don't think we're ever going to have a universe until Kevin Feige is free from Marvel. I don't think we're going to have a universe, because I think if this fails, the only way that we get another universe is if Kevin Feige comes over. I do. Sid says, imagine talking about a movie bombing that comes out a whole year away. Donovan says, also maybe realize that Gunn is actually giving respect to what Reeves is doing, and maybe that is the holdup. But guess what? He is establishing other parts of the DCU until it gets there and right. Batman Reeves stuff is Elseworlds. It's off to the side. Who cares what he's doing? Who cares what he's doing? Again, if you're going to run DC, you need to realize our bread and butter is going to be this long-term universe. The long-term universe, not a trilogy of Elseworld films. That's not going to help the longevity of the DCU and DC Studios, for that matter. Having a successful DCU is what's going to do it. So yeah, maybe James Gunn is giving Matt Reeves respect. Well, he's fucking up if he's doing that, because he needs to sit there and say, you know what, Matt Reeves, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, but I got to make my Batman for the DCU, because we need to have a successful universe for the longevity of this brand and this studio. Full stop. So again, that's why I ask, where is the disconnect? Where is the holdup with Jimmy Gunn and Peter Safran and getting these A-list characters out? Because it shouldn't take 6 years to get a Batman movie out, or more. It's probably going to be more than 6 years. It shouldn't take 6 years to get a Wonder Woman movie out. I get you want to focus on Superman, but maybe he needs to step back from the director's chair for a while. Maybe he needs to get away from there and focus on building the universe properly. That's all I'm saying. I think he is a brilliant man, a great writer, a fantastic director. And I think that if he focused solely and fully on the DCU as a whole and brought in other filmmakers to help build it with him, I think the DCU would be fantastic as well. And I trust that he has great ideas. But again, this isn't just about me, a comic book movie fan, a comic book fan. It's about getting a larger audience invested in the brand for it to be successful. And if you don't give the larger audience things that will interest them and make it be successful, it's going to fail. Sid says, kind of sounds like this person wants a Superman sequel to fail. Are you a Snyder cultist? People. Donovan, now I think in the next couple of months to next year, we hear about Paradise Lost and then Wonder Woman. Maybe. Funny Guy 9000. What is going on in the live chat? That's what I'm asking, Funny Guy. What is going on? Sean O'Rourke. What's going on, Sean? Nice to see you stop by. Thank you very much. Says the Snyderverse is not coming back and the DCU will be next. I hope not, Sean. I hope not. But like I said, they need to focus on the right things. And I think that's really what's going to happen. Sean O'Rourke, it's time for standalone trilogies and standalone films. Again, I don't think that's what we need, but I think that's where everything is headed. I still think that they could just hire a bunch of filmmakers. You know, a filmmaker comes in and says, look, I got a great story idea that could end up being 3 to 6 films or 3 to 4 films, 3 to 5 films. And it utilizes all these different characters. And they could get a green light and they do the first movie. If it's successful, they could do a second one, kind of like Matt Reeves. And then you get another filmmaker doing other movies and with other characters. Like I could see that happening. I could see that happening if the DCU does end up failing. I don't want it to fail. Sean says, Gunn directing a Batman film would be like Adam West on steroids. I honestly don't think so. I think I want to be honest here. So I know James Gunn is more of a comedy director for sure. He definitely leans heavy into the comedic realm and aspect of filmmaking. Superman was a bit of a departure, not completely. There were still jokey jokes and very, very much Gunn-isms in it. For sure. I completely agree with that. But I will say this. I will say that he made Superman different than he made his other movies. And I think that Man of Tomorrow is going to go in that same direction, and he's just going to get better at doing that. Now, do I think he should do a Batman movie? No. I don't want to see him do a Batman movie. Like I said, I want to see him back away from the directing chair for a while, but that's just me. Sid says it's 2026. Imagine hitting Gunn for 3 straight years. Guys, I mean, what does it matter if somebody doesn't like a director or I just this infighting of the fandom is just so tiring. So tiring. Sean says Gunn wants 4 paychecks per project. That's greed. You're probably right. I mean, he has the ability to do it, so that's probably why he does it. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't. But if he truly respects the brand, I think he should back off. And honestly, I think Peter Safran needs to stand up to him and say, look, man, we need to focus on this. Insidious Topo says we are only going to get mid-Batman movies if DCU fails. I mean, I think the first Batman for Matt Reeves was mid, so I could see that being a problem for sure. Reload says if Gunn doesn't want to stop directing, just let Safran run DC by himself. I don't think he's capable of doing that because I don't think he has the knowledge of the universe like James Gunn has. Jalen Harris says, bro, screw standalone movies. The fact that we all know it just be Batman standalone movies for 10 plus years if the DCU fails. That is just a freaking fact that's sad to even think about. Sean says, each film James Gunn gets paid for directing, writing, producing, and studio head. Correct. All right. You guys are talking to each other. Funny guy says, I'm not getting involved in the fandom war. Well, please, that good. Don't. Nobody should. I mean, I was for a while and I stopped because it was stupid. All right. Moving to the next topic. I know this was last week's big news, but I haven't had a chance to talk about it here with you guys yet. The Batman Part 2 has been delayed to February 18th, 2028. We're talking about, what is it, November, December, January. It's a 4 months push or something like that. Some people think it's because there's going to be some kind of announcement for a new DCU film that comes out. I think it's just simply to give Matt Reeves a little more time for his movie. But I guess we'll see. I mean, I honestly don't know what it could be. Maybe this is just a thought here. And don't get mad at me because it's a thought. I'm not saying this is definite. So people out there, don't get mad at me for this. But I honestly think that, or I don't honestly think, I'm wondering if they're slowing down production on the DCU because of the failure of Supergirl, which means instead of having, or not just DCU, but DC Studios, I should say, instead of having 2 movies in 2027 with the Batman and Man of Tomorrow, having 1 movie each year, and we won't get another movie in 2027. Maybe that's something that's just a thought that kind of crossed my mind. Maybe it's just because the uncertainty of the merger. I don't know. I really don't know. I think they really move this more for Matt Reeves than anything, but I really think they need to get another movie made for 2027 for the DCU. And we need to get an announcement of what's coming in 2028 for the DCU if we get anything. There's some concern, and this is a big reason why, like I said last week, it's important to have a plan that you showcase to your fans and to the audience. That's the thing. That's why I think it's a mistake not going to San Diego Comic-Con, because you can go there and you don't need to give release dates. You don't need to give anything big. Just say, look, we're hard at work on Man of Tomorrow. We got Clayface coming, Lanterns coming. It's all great. Look, we got this Jimmy Olsen show. This is going to be tons of fun. But we also want to let you know that we're in the process and we've greenlit a Batman movie. We greenlit a Wonder Woman. We greenlit this. These things that are coming. You don't need to give release dates. Just give us something to say, hey, things are moving along. That's why it's important to do that. This delay, like I said, starts bringing into question what is happening at DC Studios. And again, that is a problem. It's not that I have anything against James Gunn. It's not that I have anything against Peter Safran. It's just questions that rightfully should come up and be talked about and questioned. It's okay to have these discussions. It's okay. But I don't know. For me, this movie could never come out and I'd be happy. I'd be fine. Like, it wouldn't bother me at all. I won't say I would be happy, but it wouldn't bother me at all. Like, I wouldn't care if this movie never came out because I didn't like the first one. Will I see the second one? Yes, because I'm a Batman fan and I'd hope that it's better than the first. But if it never came, it never came. So them delaying it, it is what it is. That's just my thought. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below about the Batman Part 2 being delayed. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. And that's what I wanted to do. Let's see. Hidden Insidious says Reeves and Gunn will merge if DCU survives Man of Tomorrow. I'm stoked for Man of Tomorrow, by the way. No, they will not merge. That would be a terrible, terrible idea from both sides. Both sides, it would be a terrible idea. Even though I don't like what Reeves made, he doesn't want that, and I don't think that his Batman fits in the universe. From James Gunn's side, that takes away his artistic integrity of building this universe like he wants, and I think that'll cause him to leave if that was forced upon him. Let's see. Anything else? Are you guys just fighting amongst each other? Jalen says it's not the fact that we can't have these discussions. It's just when these topics and concerns become just doom posting and just fandom war bullshit is why no one wants to talk about these things. Exactly, Jalen. And that's the point of my channel has always been to let's have a discussion on these things. Let's not fight about them. Let's discuss them. There's absolute concerns for them and for different things. And I think it's important to discuss those concerns as long as we understand that, hey, it's a discussion. Like, we're not sitting here saying, oh, James Gunn is terrible. No, I have legit questions and concerns about what he's been doing for the last 4 years besides directing and writing. He's supposed to be the head of a studio, and I have concerns about that. I have concerns about why they moved the Batman movie 4 months. What was the point for it? Is it just Matt Reeves needed more time? Did he need an extra 4 months? Maybe. But could it be something else? Again, those are things that are, we should talk about and be able to ask. That doesn't mean it's doom and gloom and to worry about things like some people like to try and make it out like we're doing. Funny Guy says, if Gunn and Reeves universe merge, people will claim and accuse that Gunn interfere with Reeves' work. You're not wrong, but I also think if they were to merge, Gunn would walk away completely. Jalen says, I hope when Man of Tomorrow wraps up filming, we get some peace and some good news. There's never going to be peace until, and I hate to say it like this. Because I don't agree with this sentiment. So don't think this is me saying this is what needs to happen. I just think that this is the only way that we start to see some peace and some confidence come back to DC films in a large way. The first movie to hit $1 billion within the DCU. And until that happens, it's going to be the same fandom infighting, the same, Snyderverse needs to come back, James Gunn needs fired, that kind of stuff. If Man of Tomorrow hits $1 billion, which I don't know, man, but if it did, I think that would put a lot of people just to the side, like, shut up, you have no room to talk anymore. And I think it would start to solidify the fandom and bring the fandom together again. So I think that's what it's going to take, but I don't think that it should be that. I think it should be just the fandom just realizing that to stop being assholes. And I'm not saying everybody is, but a large portion of the DC fandom can be. And I think they need to realize, look, if we don't support DC, we're never going to get anything good when it comes to like a connected universe. And I think that's ridiculous. I think we need to. Funny Guy said about Paramount merger getting blocked. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. It could very well get blocked. Yes. Jalen, the fact that Brave and Bull, Blue Beetle and Man of Tomorrow news blew up is a good sign that Man of Tomorrow could be huge for normies and fans. I don't know if it blew up, but I mean, it did get people talking for sure. Definitely got people talking for sure. All right. So, what in the world did Zack Snyder say that got people all excited for no damn reason? Well, let's talk just about that. Before I do that, Sean says, Man of Tomorrow will just divide the fandom more. Again, if Man of Tomorrow were to make $1 billion, no. But if Man of Tomorrow makes $700 million, it's just going to keep the divide going. So, yeah. All right. What did Zack Snyder say? So, he was on a panel talking about different things, probably his career, stuff like that. And obviously, people want to bring up DC to him. Now, he's reading questions that came, I think he's reading it off an iPad, as you can see. Scan QR code or join something.com and ask a question. So people aren't standing up and asking questions. It's questions that are getting sent to him via iPad. So this is what he says. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I'll try and turn it up.
Well, the good news is he's already finished the comic book. That's done.
He's asked about The Dark Knight Returns and a movie for it.
So the good news is the hard work is over. Yeah. The heavy lifting, if you will. No. So yeah, I think the answer is when they let us. Okay.
So yeah, he was asked. So Zack Snyder was asked if he'd direct The Dark Knight Returns. He replied, "If they'll let us." Let's see.
No. So yeah, I think the answer is when they let us.
When they let us. When they let us. You can see how he says it. It's very offbeat. It's just kind of like he's joking around, like, yeah, when they let us. You know, he knows it's not going to happen. Look, we're not going to get a Dark Knight Returns movie. We're not going to get the Snyderverse, but people freaked out. I even saw people saying, like, this is going to be him. This is him hinting that he's making a return. You see people saying if the merger happens, maybe Abney and DeLuca finally give him a call. I saw Syllab Dole even say something like that in the same way, saying, oh, Abney and DeLuca are going to bring Snyder back. You keep hearing these ridiculous, I guess, comments or reactions to things that Snyder does or says. The fact of the matter is, he's getting asked these questions. He doesn't have a real answer to give. Like, he's not going to ever say, no, it's not going to happen. I'm never doing it, because that'll piss off his fan base. He'll never tell his fans he's not going to, like, if somebody says, hey, will you ever continue the Snyderverse? He'll always say, hey, if I get the opportunity to, I love the characters. Absolutely, I would do it in any form, any medium at all. If he's asked, hey, are you going to do the Dark Knight Returns? Because he's mentioned that in the past. Of course, he's going to say, you know, when they let us, you know, he's going to say things like that to hype up his fans, because he's not going to disappoint his fans. Now, the people who sit there and say, oh, when this merger happens and they quote unquote fire James Gunn, which is still not a definite thing that could happen, but if they do that, oh, Abney and DeLuca are going to call Zack Snyder up and bring him back. They're more likely to call up Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to come back and continue his franchise idea than call up Zack Snyder, because let's not forget that Mike DeLuca was very big on pushing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's idea prior to James Gunn taking over. He was on Dwayne Johnson's side of everything. That's what he wanted to have happen. And let's not forget that whole aspect, that whole thing had nothing to do with the Snyderverse. Yeah, sure, it was going to use characters that were started there, but Henry Cavill wanted to go in a completely different direction with the character than what Snyder wanted to, and The Rock understood that, and they had plans, and they had ideas, and they were going to go in another direction. So to sit there and act like Abney and DeLuca will absolutely call Zack Snyder if they take over DC Studios, which makes no sense because they're having massive success with Warner Brothers Pictures right now. Why would they drop that and go somewhere else is beyond me. But that's how these people think and react. Instead of thinking logically and remembering what happened in the past and how things have gone, they want to sit there and act like any sign, any little snippet where Zack Snyder hints at DC at all, oh, well, Zack Snyder's coming back. And he's not, guys. He's not. It's done. It's over. It's time to move on. Like we were saying a little bit ago, look, the DCU fails, we're not going to have a universe. No Snyderverse, no DCU, no Gunverse, no nothing. We're just going to have a bunch of random films released with the DC name on them. That's all we're going to get. That's it. What do you guys have to say over here on this? But let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this in the comments below, for sure. Let me know. Funny Guy says Snyder sounds like he was forced to answer it. That's the thing. Yes, he was forced to answer it because it was a question that popped up. Like he wasn't. He doesn't vet these questions. So yeah, he's kind of forced to answer it. And again, he's not going to make a comment that pisses off his fan base. He just won't do it. Funny Guy says I don't think DeLuca and Abney has the knowledge of a DC. No, they don't. But that's why people think that they're going to call Zack Snyder. But why are they even going to run DC? They're not. Funny Guy, that's true, Donovan. I know they're studio heads, but not for DC Studios. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Here, I'll even show. I forgot I pulled this up. Like this person here. This Gregory Maximilian says Zack Snyder clearly hinted by saying when that he intends to make Dark Knight Returns and that Warner Brothers is the only thing standing in the way of DC fans getting a respectfully done adaptation of one of the most important Batman stories ever. And then he puts Restore the Snyderverse. What do you want, people? They don't even know what they want. They want the Snyderverse, or they want the Dark Knight Returns. Do they want a Batman Batfleck movie? Do they want Henry Cavill to return, or do they want Henry Cavill to return in the Snyderverse? Nobody knows in this fandom what the hell they want or how they want it. They just want. They want because they got one thing that they wanted. Now they all just want something different and something in a different way. Some people want 15 movies. Some people want 3 movies. Some people want 1 movie. Some people want 33 movies. People want Nolan and Snyder to run DC for all eternity. It's out of hand. It has gotten out of hand what these people say and how they handle things. And first off, look, I don't think we're ever going to get an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns in live action, because I think it would be kind of lame. Like, we've seen it in comic, we've seen it in animation. Why do we need it in live action? Why? It's not going to live up to the comic. It's not going to live up to the animation. So why? We don't need it. Now give us an adaptation, something that is slightly, oh wait, we got that already with Batman v Superman. Forgot. And we saw how well that went with the general audience. I enjoy the movie, but the general audience didn't. And if the general audience didn't like a Zack Snyder Batman Superman movie in 2016, why would the general audience like a Batman Superman movie now? Yeah, they won't. So it's out of hand, guys. It's out of hand. Just let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you guys have to say about all this in the comments for sure. It's just out of hand for sure. Reloaded says, just let DC Studios offer anything to get Kevin Feige. I think, look, you say that, but I really believe if Feige leaves Marvel Studios after Secret Wars, like is being rumored, Warner Brothers be knocking, Paramount be knocking on his door, picking up and calling him. I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen. Jalen says, the last thing I want to see is DeLuca and Abdi running DC again. There's not any again. They technically never ran DC. There was just that little interim where Walter Hamada was no longer in charge, and DeLuca and Abdi were like in charge of Warner Brothers Pictures, which DC Films fell under that umbrella at that time. And yeah, they never truly were running DC at all. He says they gave us freaking Joker 2. Yeah, I mean, they did, but let's not forget, and look, as much as that movie may suck, again, I haven't seen it, but as much as that movie may suck, there's good reason to do it. Like, from a business standpoint, there's good reason to make that movie because of how good or not good. I don't think the first one was good, but for how big and successful the first one was. So from a business standpoint, it wasn't a terrible move. Reloaded, if Warner Brothers is sold for parts, do you see Disney trying to buy DC Studios? No, I don't see Disney buying DC Studios. If they try to sell DC, the IP, and all that kind of stuff by itself, excuse me, which is something that could happen, I would say look for Universal. I would say look for Netflix. I would say look for, probably those two being the biggest to really throw their hat in to try and get DC, the IP, for sure. But you got to remember, when you sell that IP, you're not just selling movies and television, you're selling comics as well. So you need to be aware, like, does Netflix want to get into the comic book game? Does Universal want to get into the comic book game? Sure, Disney already has that, because they have the Star Wars comics, they have the Disney comics, but the Marvel comics, the Disney comics, the Marvel comics and stuff like that. So they're invested with that kind of stuff already under Marvel umbrella. But I don't think they'd want to add DC to it. I don't. Jalen, like they had, most would call a miracle year with some of their films, and this year has been sadly a dud for DC or for Warner Brothers. What are you saying? Did I miss a comment? Oh, you said so far the year of film for Warner Brothers has been poor so far. I guess what Warner Brothers movies came out. Let's take a look. WB movies of 2026. What's the big ones that have come out this year? The Mummy. That actually ended up being, a lot of people really like that. Wuthering Heights was pretty big this year. The Bride didn't do very well. Mortal Kombat didn't do well. Supergirl didn't do well. Evil Dead Burns doing pretty good from a reception standpoint. I don't know how it's doing. Digger's supposed to be pretty big at the end of the year. Clayface should be big. Then you have Dune at the end of the year. They'll be fine. I mean, this isn't as big as it was last year, but last year was kind of a huge year because of Minecraft and Sinners. That really helped them out big time, those two films. And then Superman as well. So, yeah, I mean, those three films alone really made last year big for Warner Brothers. Insidious says Joker 2 was equivalent to the first Suicide Squad movie by Ayer. Not very good at all, in my opinion. Funny Guy says, yep, companies need to get everything of a certain franchise, comics, games, etc. Yes. All right, I think Jalen says, and who would come back if the Snyderverse was to come back? Ben doesn't want it. Henry, maybe. Ezra gone with the win. Gall is hated by most. Jason got the one DC character he wanted for years. I think Jason, Henry, and Ben would absolutely come back. Gal would probably come back as well because Zach respected her. Whether she's a good actress or not, he respected her and liked her. So those four would absolutely come back. As for Ezra, maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I mean, you also have Amber Heard, you have Jared Leto, you have Joe Manganiello, you have, I mean, there's so many different actors and stuff like that would absolutely come back if they had the opportunity to. I just think you start to get up there in age. That's what's going to really hurt the things. You know, Ben Affleck is going to be 60 soon. So do you really want a 60-year-old Ben Affleck running around and playing make-believe as Batman? I don't know. But all right, guys, I think that's it for today. I think we had a pretty good show, had a lot of good conversation. Don't forget, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m., I am going to do a live watch along with Superman 2025. So make sure you get your copy of Superman ready. Watch along with me. We'll discuss it, talk about it, have some commentary on it. And we can talk about anything DC that we want. So definitely look forward to seeing some of you guys here tomorrow. But with all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching today. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed today's show. And yeah, I guess I'll talk to all of you later.